Hi, and welcome along to AFTV Transfer Daily, the show that keeps up to date with players that we linked with a summer transfer and move to Arsenal. First of all, got to say happy Father's Day going out to all you fathers out there in the UK today. Of course, it is Father's Day, so big up yourself. All you fathers out there, put your feet up today. Chill out, relax, and let the kids do everything. Yeah? I wish mine would do that, right? But listen, welcome along to the show. Kicking off today with, first of all, some great games again yesterday in the Euros. Particularly enjoyed that game between Portugal and also Germany. What a fantastic game that was. And great win by Germany. I did say to some of my friends, don't write the Germans off, man. They can always bounce back, and they were brilliant yesterday. I particularly rated that Gosens. That's sort of the first time I've sort of seen a lot of him, and he looked really, really good. A player who didn't actually get on the pitch yesterday, we've seen the squad, is Andre Silva. Andre Silva, of course, of Eintracht Frankfurt. Now, we're being told today that Arsenal are in talks to sign him with his representatives. You'll note there that when I first sort of spoke about this, the reported fee was around about £30 million. Eintracht Frankfurt are said to be looking for around about £34 million now. He had a great season last year in the Bundesliga. I've spoken about this several times on the show that he outscored Haaland in the Bundesliga. 28 goals he got. And he's really hot at the moment. Hasn't figured, as I said, in the Portuguese squad yet. No shame in that when you've got Cristiano Ronaldo in front of you. But Arsenal said to be in talks with his representatives about a deal. A lot of these deals probably are not going to get done until after the Euros. I was very fascinated to hear yesterday an interview with Rio Ferdinand. He was talking about when he played at big competitions and he was getting linked to different teams. He just basically said to his agent, listen, I don't want to know. I don't want to know about anything. You guys get on with it in the background. Let me know about it when everything's done. But for now, I want to concentrate on the tournament. So I guess that'll be similar for a lot of these players that are getting linked. We are sort of getting towards that stage of the competition now where teams are going to start getting knocked out. So you might hear a bit more regarding certain players if they're on their way home. But yeah, Andre Silva being linked. And what would that mean for Alexander Lacazette? Surely if they did get him, that would mean that Lacazette will be moving on. There's also James Maddison. Now, the story on James Maddison of Leicester was broken by AFC Bell, who's got quite a few things right before on his Twitter account. He was the first one to sort of tell a lot of people about the proposed deal for Thomas Partey, and there were people laughing at him, and it turned out to be true. He got that one spot on. He came out this week and said that Arsenal are linked with James Maddison and very interested in signing him. He's done a little bit of an update on that, saying that James Maddison's basically, sent a signal out to Arsenal and said, yeah, I'd be up for it. I'll be up for a new challenge. I'll be up for coming to Arsenal. So this is one we're really going to have to keep our eye on. Could Arsenal make a move for Maddison? We know that he's one of the main guys for Leicester, but we also know that Leicester have in the past sold some of their best players. They sold Kante, they sold Mahrez. I think if the price is right, they will sell a player. So going to be really interesting to see what happens with James Maddison over the next few weeks and whether this is a deal that Arsenal will try and get done. We're being told they got 250 million to spend by certain sources. We will find out if that is true. And then, of course, there's Ben White, another very expensive player that Arsenal have been looking at. Ben White of Brighton, centre-back. When we did this caption, it was saying reported fee 15 million. No, it's up to about 50 million. That is the amount that Brighton are seeking for him. We're being told that Arsenal are already in a deal of around about £45 million. However, there's also looming Pochettino of PSG now, of course, formerly of Tottenham, now of PSG, is said to be very interested in Ben White as well. Wants to bring him over to PSG, was a big admirer of his when he was in the Premier League, and he's interested in bringing him in. Now, if PSG started getting involved, then that price could go even higher, or if not higher, you know, they can blow us out the water on all levels, you know, money that they can offer him. They can match any wage that we can come up with. And of course, they've got Champions League football, which is a massive attraction to a player like Ben White, who's not played at that level before. So it's going to be really interesting to see where he ends up. Now that this news is coming up, are Arsenal going to speed up their deal to try and get this done? Again, another player who at the moment is at the Euros with England, hasn't figured yet for England. I don't think he was actually in the squad for the last game, but he's there. And will he be, you know, concentrating on the Euros at hand, or will he be, you know, sort of looking at Arsenal and thinking to himself, let's get this done quick? Or will Arsenal be saying, let's get this done quick now that PSG are interested? So, again, a big signing that Arsenal are after. And now a big dog's in there. And we've already been outdone for Buendia by Aston Villa. I don't think Arsenal are going to want to get outdone for another one of their big targets this summer. So they're going to have to move fast. Alexander Isak, who's been really getting rave reviews for his performance at the Euros, a target of Arsenal, we're being told, a target of several clubs after his performances at the Euros. We heard that Chelsea are interested in him now as well. He has been very impressive, playing as that lone striker for Sweden. Still only 21, 6'4". It looks like he'd suit the Premier League to the ground. A real Sociedad player. But I've explained to you guys before that he's got this clause in his contract because he's formerly at Borussia Dortmund. Of course, they got Haaland. They moved him on, but they put in this bigger sort of buyback clause in the contract. Real Sociedad is supposed to be negotiating with Dortmund at the moment to try and remove this buyback clause. So what does that mean for the player? Does that mean that he then, you know, he signs a very long-term deal with Real Sociedad and without the buyback clause, and then, you know, they don't look to sell him? Or is that them trying to do that so they can ramp the value up? Reported fee there was 20 million when I was first talking about him before the start of the Euros. Today I'm seeing 40, 50 million being bandied around. Based off of the back of a tournament. He did have a good season last year, scoring 17 goals in La Liga. But wow, that has jumped massively. You know, when you're hearing 40 to 50 million pounds being spoken about for this player, he hasn't actually even scored a goal yet at the tournament, you know, but he has looked good. You know what I mean? We got to say that he has looked good in the tournament. But wow, just goes to show you got to get those deals done early if you're going to make a move for them, because otherwise the price is going to go up. Granit Xhaka, as we know, has been linked with a move away to Roma. We're being told today that Roma and Arsenal have kind of agreed a fee, around about £17 million. It's just personal terms to be agreed now with Granit Xhaka. We know that Xhaka does want to move to Roma. And yeah, he looks like he's going to be on his way out. He's got a big game today, Switzerland. So obviously, again, I think maybe it won't get settled until, you know, after the Euros and Switzerland exit the Euros. If they do, they probably won't yet. But £17 million is said to be the fee that's been agreed upon between Arsenal and Roma. Jose Mourinho, of course, at Roma has sort of made Granit Xhaka his number one target. And I think that this one is a deal that will get resolved once the Euros are completed and Granit Xhaka will be a Roma player. So lots of interesting stuff going on, lots of interesting rumors out there. Let's get some of your opinions. Let's get straight into it. Hannah says, hey, Robbie, big fan of the show. Did you hear the rumor that we took out a loan at Barclays? Do you know if any of that is true? I did hear that rumor. And from what I've been told, that is true, that a loan was taken out at Barclays by Arsenal. Now, the thing is about it, what was that loan for? Is that loan for signings, or is that loan just to cover the undoubted, you know, money that's been lost, you know, so far by Arsenal during this pandemic? It's really hard to say unless you're really next to the finance guys who are getting those deals done. Push Praga says, Robbie, I understand that many of the players linked to Arsenal are playing in the Euros or Copa, but I find it hard to believe that there are no top players not playing in these tournaments, e.g. Ward-Prowse, Sarr, Berg, Kessie. Of course, there's players that are not playing, but if they're number one targets, which we know Ben Gibson is definitely one of their number one targets, and if he's playing, Ben White, and if he's playing at the Euros, they're going to have to wait. Going to have to wait. It's simple as that. Temp Step says, Madison scores goals, get him, right? Scott Gray asks, Robbie, what would be your dream signing for Arsenal? Now, are you asking me realistic or are you asking me absolute dream? I guess you mean realistic. This transfer window, and this is going to sound really, really boring, my dream signing is Bissouma. That's it. I'm not asking for too much. Bissouma from Brighton would be my dream signing right now. So somebody who comes in place of Xhaka. We get 17 million for Xhaka. Put another, say, 20 million on top of that and go and get Bissouma. He's what we need in our midfield. Be absolutely perfect. That's pretty boring, but that's what we need. And I want us to get what we need this year. Adash says, hey, Robbie, what do you think about the duo of Alexander Isak and Andre Silva up front? Well, I don't think we'd be buying both of them. As I said, we look like we're talking to Andre Silva. Been a bit disappointing that we haven't got a chance to see him yet in this tournament. There's a couple of players that we're linked to that we haven't even seen play. Ruben Neves, of course, who we've been linked with, also in that Portugal squad. He's not been... he's not been playing either. But one of those two I wouldn't be against at all. TM Channel YT says, why do PSG need him? They've got Kimpembe, Marquinhos. You should get fullbacks, not Ben White. Of course, PSG, it's all about the squad. They're in the Champions League. They want to have a great squad to try and win the Champions League. Also, they need to try and win the league back. Remember, PSG... didn't win the league last season. It was won by Lille. So they're on a bit of a rebuilding, but they do have Kimpembe and Marquinhos. Both of them are great defenders, but those teams, it's all about having a great squad. Noah says, get Isaac. I'm Swedish, and he would be a great signing. Great in both Sociedad and Dortmund. And as I said, never sign a player based off of... based off of what you see in a tournament, they say. But he's looked really good, Alexander Isak, in this. As I said, he hasn't actually scored yet, but he just looks a handful. He really does look a handful. And, I like what I've seen so far. L1 Neil says, are we going to transition to a 4-3-3 if we get Madison and Lokonga? Lokonga, of course, heavily linked. Maybe. I don't think the formation that we play at the moment is the ideal formation that Mikel Arteta would like to play. So maybe we could see that. I think he definitely wants to see a team that's much quicker in transition. So maybe. Fernandez, he says, I doubt we'll get Bissouma due to the African Cup of Nations. We'd lose too many key players. Regardless, priorities should be 2 CMs, a right back and a left back. Anything else is a bonus. Much love from Malaysia. Big up there, over there in Malaysia. Rian says, hey, Robbie, do you think we should terminate Aubameyang's contract? Absolutely not. He's had a bad season. He's still a quality player. Let's see what he does this season. He had a bad season. I think... a chance for him to bounce back. This is kind of like when you look at his goal scoring record, it's his worst ever season last season. Why? I don't know. Was there injuries there? We know he had, he had malaria. Anything can happen to a player, but I don't know. I've somehow got faith that he's going to bounce back. I think he's a player desperately in need of a good preseason. If he has a good preseason, hopefully he can really bounce back and he can have a very, very good season next year. We need him to. Because let's be real, you know, the previous season he carried us. We need some more carrying. Jenny says, Robbie, stop under. I think he means underestimating. He's saying understanding Lokonga. I think he might mean underestimating Lokonga. He's a top player and he's bigger potential than your man crush, Bissouma. What it is, Jenny, right? It's not that I'm underestimating Lokonga, and I've read a lot about him, and you know, I haven't seen a lot of him, I'm going to admit, but I've read a lot about him, and everything that I've read about him, he's very highly rated, of course, with the Belgium squad, and a great young player. I just look at Bissouma. It's not just a man crush. I look at Bissouma and I say, he's ready now for the Premier League, and we need to hit the ground running. Remember those first 3 games that we've got. And I'd like Bissouma and Lokonga. That's what I'd like to see. I'd like to see the 2 of them come in, if I'm being honest. But I'm not underestimating him. But he's a young player. He's going to have to. I mean, look how difficult an experienced player like Thomas Partey found his first season in the Premier League, and you know, so it's really, really tough. And that's why, for me, Bissouma will be who I'd be really love to see Arsenal get. Javier says, Robbie, thoughts on Arsenal being interested in Kamavinga? I've read a lot of the Kamavinga links. I think a lot of it is based on pure speculation without a lot of basis. I don't think there's been any sort of approach from Arsenal from what I can see yet for Kamavinga. However, he is a player that I've seen play quite a few times, and I rate him very, very highly. And I think he'd be excellent for Arsenal. I guess the only thing what I see with Kamavinga, a bit similar in his style, in a way, to Thomas Partey. So we've already invested heavily in Partey, but Kamavinga, he's young. He's a future star. He's a future star. Very similar to like a Pogba as well. Very, very good player. AFC Max says, hey, Robbie, I love your stuff from Australia. We need to spend this 250 million quickly. And an unpopular opinion, Australian cricket team over England. Nah, that is an unpopular opinion over here anyway. But listen, if we've got the 250 million, that's the question. Do we have that? Like somebody brought up earlier, we need to spend it. But what is that 250 million for? Is it for transfers? I guess they'd never tell us, because if they told us, then, you know, then, you know, every team out there is going to be thinking, yeah, Arsenal got 250 million to spend. We're asking for that max on everything. Dirty says, Robbie, what do you think about Schick? He looks so good in the Euros. Looks good in the Euros. Has done very well, Schick. Been very impressed with him. We've seen a couple of players from the Czech Republic at West Ham come into the Premier League and do really, really well. But I'd need to see more of him. But looks good. It's been, you know, he's one of the top goal scorers in the tournament so far. So we've got to big him up. Kabir says, hey, Robbie, do you think White could possibly even play holding midfield or even right back? There's been a lot of talk about the possibility of him coming in as a right back. Both are positions that he plays very well. And if he plays there, then it leaves space for Saliba. I would love to see Saliba get a run. I just feel this kid's getting really harshly dealt with. But if we're bringing in Ben White, is it as a right back? Maybe a right back in a back three, maybe, I guess. But, you know, then go and get Lamptey. You know what I mean? Billy says, Kamavinga or Bissouma, Rob? Oh, that's a hard one. Kamavinga's your future, isn't he? But for me, right now, that fixes a big problem for Arsenal, Bissouma. Because he hits the ground running. He comes in, he knows the Premier League. He's been to every ground in the Premier League. He's come up against every team in the Premier League more than once. He knows players. These are all important things and important nuances. I've spoken to players before, and they said that. They go to, you know, once you're in the league for like a season, you know certain players. You know that if you're coming up against, I don't know, Mahrez, and you've played against him a couple of times, you know that you don't let him come inside. You know where to show him, right? When you come into the league at first, you don't know those things. You got to learn, so it's those little nuances that help you to hit the ground running when you've already played in the Premier League. Why don't we get Dumfries? Says Eric. Dumfries has been brilliant. He really has been in the Euros for Holland. Yeah, it's going to be a great signing. Great signing, a great right wing back. John Doe says Renato Sanchez and Partey, and we're good. Remember, Renato Sanchez, when he came to the Premier League before, was it Swansea? And he absolutely bombed, didn't he? He was terrible. I guess he was very young there. This is what I'm saying about when you get players that are very young. Remember, he came very, very highly rated, went to Swansea, didn't work out at all. But maybe if he came now, older, more mature player, maybe he'd do the business. You know what I mean? This is what I'm saying. This is why I look at a player like Bissouma, who's ready right now. Shocking about Saliba, says Robbie. If I was him, I'd be giving Arsenal the middle finger and getting out as soon as possible. I hope he goes and becomes another Van Dijk. Well, I hope not. I hope he stays and becomes a Van Dijk is what we need. Yeah, he's it's been a weird one. It's been a weird one. Signed. Remember, this is not a player that we signed for £2-3 million. Yeah. He cost £27 million. It's a huge investment on a centre-back, a young player. It just seems weird to me that we'd even be considering still moving him on again, especially if he was to take a loss off of it. That, for me, would be unforgivable. Abe says, better players out there than Bissouma. There's a reason he's not our priority midfield signing. Is there? Can you give me what that reason is? If we're selling Granit Xhaka and we need a defensive midfielder, let me know some of those that are better out there, that are proven. As I said, proven in the Premier League. Very impressive player. In the Premier League, I think, holding midfielder-wise, the only players that I'd say that I think are better than him are Kante, and I'll probably add Ndidi at Leicester as well. Apart from that, maybe Declan Rice. He's right up there. He's right up there with them, and playing in a better team, I think he'd excel. Hab says, hey, Robbie, keep up the hard work. I think Maddison is a better fit for Arsenal than Grealish. Could play with Emile Smith-Rowe. Do you agree? Could you play both? You could play both because, Emile Smith-Rowe was being played out a little wider by Mikel Arteta. I do think Emile Smith-Rowe is going to be one of the mainstays next season. Expect him to play even more regularly. He's a great player. He's going to get better and better and better. I like Madison. I think Madison would be great for Arsenal, but better fit than Grealish? Nah, I'm having Grealish all day long. Billy Faraday says White played at right back and defensive midfield. Yes, we know he can play that, but predominantly, primarily, he is a centre back. One Top says, hey, Robbie, any update on Ramsey? Ramsey, of course, is going to be playing today for the Welsh. He scored that great goal in the last game for them. Haven't heard anything really about, it's been pure speculation linking Aaron Ramsey to Arsenal without any basis whatsoever. I think he'll stay. Or if he does come back to the Premier League, I don't know. I kind of doubt it will be Arsenal, but you never know. You never know in this transfer market. Never say never. Gurav says, break the bank for Grealish. It would be a nice reply to Villa after the Buendia fiasco. I see Grealish being linked with Man City today. If that's the case, forget that. No chance. FJ says, we're using a loan to purchase players after Arsene Wenger sacrificed 10 years of his life selling his best players to repay a loan. Well, you know what? We're in a hole right now. This football club right now is in a hole. Arsene Wenger's got to take a bit of the blame for this as well. For many years, some of the, when he first come in, signing after signing after signing, brilliant. always made money on him. Towards the end of his career, you know, some of those signings, Mustafi, you know, left on a free, wasted 35 million on him. Xhaka is about to leave for 17 million, poor. And then, like, literally, you know, we saw that stat the other day where we said there are only 2 players that, you know, we've made a profit on since, I think it was 2012 or something. It was horrendous. I think it was Giroud and I forgot the other player, Giroud and all that. One of you guys will tell me, but shocking. Shocking. Look how many players Chelsea have made a profit on. You know, look how many players. And then we're buying all these players and we're losing money. We either lose money on, we can't get rid of them. Nah. He says, let's be honest, Robbie, who would you want to come to Arsenal without European football? Or sorry, who would want to come to Arsenal without European football? Listen, there's many a player that will come without European football. Obviously, the wages have got to be higher. And you've got to... Listen, Arsenal, what they've got is the name. The name Arsenal is still huge. No matter what anyone wants to banter us or whatever, that name Arsenal is still a huge name in world football. If Ben White plays for Arsenal, his chances of making the World Cup squad in 2022 have just gone up way above if he's playing for Brighton or Leeds or any of those teams, right? His chances goes up, yeah? You look at a player, I'll give you an example of that. If we look at a player at the moment, Ward-Prowse. Ward-Prowse, if Ward-Prowse was playing for Arsenal, he'd be in the England squad. I have no doubts. He would be in the England squad, but because he's playing for Southampton, that's why he didn't make the squad. He was playing for Arsenal, he's in the England squad. Simple as that. So we've got the name. The name is still there. The name of Arsenal is still a big name in world football. Yes, we're in a bit of a doldrums at the moment when it comes to European football, but it's still a huge name. You know, you got a chance to go to Arsenal or Lille to play European football. Where are you going? You're going to Arsenal, right? Arsenal can pay the wages. They can still pay big wages to these footballers. They've still got an unbelievable training ground, which is what every player wants to see because that's your place of work. That's where you are every day. So there's still a lot of factors. There's still good players there. You know, you're still going to be playing with Aubameyang, Saka. You know, you're going to be playing with Lacazette. You know, Thomas Partey, Pepe. You're still going to be playing with some great players, right? Then I feel what is the main thing then is down to Mikel Arteta and Edu selling a project to a player. This is how you then get the big player. You've got all those other things in place, but you say to that player, listen, as you know, we've got no European football, but these are our ambitious plans to, first of all, get back into Europe, and then secondly, in the next 2 to 3 years, challenge to win the league. If you can sell that to a player, he will come. But that's where it's a key, you know, it's key, and that's where Mikel Arteta and Edu and, you know, all these guys are Garlic, all these guys, they've got to sell the club to any potential player who wants to come in. So, you know, yeah, a lot of work to be done. A lot of work to be done, you know. Euros on today. Temp Step says Ramsey and Bale will be putting a spliff today. Viva Italia. No Ramsey for me. Of course, Italy looking great in the tournament. How good did Germany look yesterday, though? Oof. Ndidi is proven, says ML2. He is. He'd be a great signing, but, you know, again, I don't think, you know, how much would he cost? That's why I said Bissouma's a cheaper option, but a very, very good option who can become as good as Ndidi. Gareth said, what would be your realistic dream lineup? He says, also, come on, Wales. That's going to take me too long to do that. But as I said, we need a new right back. We need a backup left back. We need a defensive midfielder. We need a central midfielder. Those are the most important. If I see those 4 things done, I'm happy. Anything else on top of that's a bonus. We probably need a striker, right? Because we're probably going to move on Lacazette. But even before we do that, those other areas are more important. I'd rather keep Lacazette. We got Aubameyang. We got Martinelli. You know, you can go down the false 9 route. We got Balogun. Striker's not the priority this This priority is the spine of the team in that right back area with more dynamism. What Kieran Tierney does down the left, we need someone doing that down the right. And then we can really make progress. Zach says, indeed, he came from the Belgian league, by the way, the same league as Lokonga. Isn't proving enough. Listen, I'm not... Zach, you're getting me wrong. I'm not saying he's not a great player, Lokonga. I'm not saying he can become an Ndidi. All I'm saying is, you give me a choice between Lokonga and Bissouma at the moment. I'm saying, just for Arsenal, I'd go Bissouma because he's ready for the Premier League right now. Lokonga can be excellent. And if we go with Lokonga, and that's what we go with, I'm backing it. Because at least we're getting a player in the area that we need. But then we're going to have to be patient with him because it takes time. If he hits the ground running immediately, fantastic, brilliant. But it takes time. It can take time to hit that ground running. That's all I'm saying. So if we do get Lokonga, we're going to have to be very patient. Simple as that. And that's a very important area that he's going to be coming into. A player, a lot of times where you want like a sort of player that's very experienced. Sacco says, Robbie, Bissouma doesn't progress the ball. Here we go. Doesn't progress the ball as good as Xhaka. This is why we was told. This is why we signed Xhaka, because he progresses the ball so well. What's he done since he's been here? Progress what? I want someone that first, primarily, your job is as that destructor. You know, Kante doesn't progress the ball unbelievably either. But would you not have him? It's just having the right players in the right positions, the spine of the team, right? He can lay it off to the Partey and then they can progress it. So I'm not having this. And going along to the AFCON, we'll have to deal with that. Maybe that's where you get Lokonga and Bissouma. You know, we have to deal with that. We have to deal with the fact that, you know, they'll be going to the African Cup of Nations for a month. You know? Symmetry 93 says, Robbie, do you think we will regret not selling Willock and Smith Rowe, just like the 20 million we could have got for Niles? No, I don't think so. We shouldn't be selling Emil Smith Rowe for 20 million. No chance, right? This kid is going to be a huge player. I have real faith in Smith Rowe. And in the case of Willock, I think, you know, I had this debate with Turkish and the guys, and I think he had a great loan move. Scored loads of goals. I always considered him as a goal-scoring midfielder, but he needed confidence. He's gone. He's got that confidence. I want us to keep him. And if we do sell Willock, we've got to get the maximum amount of money for him so that we can go and maybe get a James Maddison. Charlie says we need leaders and experience, Robbie. Who would be your must-have transfer regarding this and why? Well, I kind of explained that already. I gave you the Bissouma one. Alejandro says, hey, Robbie, I think Lokonga would be more of a Partey backup than a Xhaka replacement. He wouldn't start straight away. I kind of agree with you. I'm not sure if he would start straight away. And that's what I'm saying. I still go with the Bissouma one. Rosdog says, player back three of Tierney, Gabriel, Ben White, left back Gossens, right back Dumfries. Nah, man, Tierney. We don't need Gossens. See, again, you see the player, he played brilliantly yesterday, Gossens. You see the players had a good game in the Euros. Now you're moving Tierney out to put him in. No, Tierney had a great game as well. Delion says Hosimoa and Sabitzer would be more than ideal playmakers and cost-effective. Sell Laka, Ainsley Maitland-Niles, and bring Isaac and Neves. Yeah, dream. But I'll tell you what, the Owa and Sabitzer one I like. Sabitzer to me is a no-brainer. Wouldn't be easy to get because I think he is a player that it would be difficult to sell the Arsenal project to, because I guess he can go to, you know, play in Champions League teams. But he's a good player. And I think he is a player that's so experienced, he would do very, very well in the Premier League. Mark S says, I hope to see Aziz. So do I. Balogun, Cottrell, Nelson, etc. A lot more upcoming this season. Surely they aren't anything worse than what we've seen last season. Well, Reece Nelson's not worse than what I saw with Willian. 100%. Dan Aziz, maybe a loan for a Dan Aziz. It's going to be tough for some of these guys, because remember, we ain't got no Europa League either. So it's about having a good run in the Carabao Cup, so that some of these young players can get a chance to play. Remember, we're going to be in there from very early, from the second round this time. Stan Kroenke says we need ballers, not Bissouma. Yeah, well, you know what? Players like Bissouma allow ballers to play, just like Kante at Chelsea and at France allows your Mbappes and your Pogbas and all that. He's doing the watch along on the Don Robbie channel yesterday, and that was the point that Saeed, the Man United fan, was making. He's saying that, the reason, because I was asking what is the reason why Pogba doesn't, looks a completely different player when he's playing for France than when he's playing for Man United. And he says the difference is, for France, he's got behind him, Kante, and he goes, Man United behind him, he's got Fred. And he goes, that's a huge difference. Kante allows him to play. Kante's the guy that sits there and allows them all to play. So Bissouma for me is a baller, but maybe he's not your super skill baller. He's not going to do 10 step overs, but we don't need a player in that position to do 10 step overs. We need a player in that position to break up play, win it, give it out to the better players to protect the back four. Let's fix the spine. Don't need no Hollywood right now, right? I'll take Nollywood first. Dean says, Robbie, it's sad to see that we can no longer attract the high-profile players, and we're being linked with players like Bissouma. Bissouma's also being linked with Liverpool. Yeah, but it doesn't always have to be a player that's playing for Real Madrid or playing for Atletico or playing. It doesn't have to be, Like that guy there said earlier, Ndidi came from the Belgium league. Where did Kante come from? When he was signed, nobody knew him. Riyad Mahrez signed for 500 grand. Right? So, Nug says, if Brighton have Lamptey, White, Bissouma, how comes they've done so badly and we're interested in players that haven't done well as a squad? Well, listen, again, you can't go off of that. Those players individually could be winning their own battles. When you play in a team, I even say this to my son when he's playing football, win your individual battles. What I've saw of Lamptey is an exciting, explosive player. Yeah? Ben White, highly rated, and so I rate Bissouma. Right? Just because they're playing for Brighton doesn't mean that they can't go and play for a better team. If you had that argument, then, as I said, nobody would ever assign Kante. He's playing in Division 2 over there in France. Why do we want to sign him for? No one would assign Mahrez. So you can't go for that logic. You've got to watch a player, see what he can do, and then look to see if you could then bring him to a better team and bring him in. I'm going to do the last few here. The Bolsa says we should get Manus Solomon. Also been very heavily linked with the Israeli international. Never know. Could happen. Eunice is not too confident with Arteta. He says, sack Arteta. Why is he still here, man? He is still here. Whilst he's here, I guess we're going to have to back him. I think he's very lucky to still be here. And Soam says, we can't go another summer without filling the gaps. Forget about players like Grealish. Players like him are the icing on the cake, but we need the batter first. I like that one. Listen, thank you very, very much for watching. Don't forget, happy Father's Day. And don't forget, as I said, to tune into the Don Robbie channel if you're following the Euros. We've got coverage over there of every single Euro games. We'll be covering the games today. And don't forget to keep it locked here on AFTV, Transfer Daily every single day. We keep you updated with all the players that have been linked. Loving doing these lives. I promise you guys I'm going to do more live shows as well so that we can get your opinions, because I love some of your opinions today. And that last one, I really, really loved, right? So thank you. Make sure you have yourself a great day, and I'll see you tomorrow.